Morning, folks. Got a little cloudy start to the day. Might even have a little bit of rain shower come in. I don't know yet. Got my poncho just in case. Ready to run and gun. It's time for blast off. Let's go. Morning, Bassin buds. Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. I'm up here at the rapids. That's what I like to do in the summertime. You know, you got sunrise at 6 in the morning. Now this is a 20-minute run to come up here. And I can start right at the head of where everything starts back here. And come to the rapids and fish it, just float my way back. And you know, we got just enough current to get me down that way, and I just kind of floated along. I'm going to start the day off with the Nico rig. Nico. It's a 4.5-inch quiver worm. This is super bug. Got an 1/8 ounce screw in type weight at the bottom, so I like to have some movement right here. I got one of those, I don't think from VMC that I like, but it's the wacky ring where you can rig a hook up and down or sideways. And I've got a toner sniper hook on here, weedless sniper hook. And about 6 inches up, I've got a very small, like a 0 size black ball bearing swivel with solid rings, not split rings. And this just kind of keeps the line twist down. Yeah, see what I mean? So on Nico rig, you can get some line twist. And I got my stinky stuff. But I had on the fried melon color, and I decided to go ahead and put the super bug on because you can kind of tell behind me with the skies it's a little dark and cloudy, so I chose something they could see a little easier. I got a couple other baits with me too. I'll go over those, including one surprise. And well, like I said, I'll go along with them as I go. I just brought 3 rods with me today. And I guess we'll see what happens here. You know, I will say one thing. Right behind me is where them squatters always trash that little island right there I show y'all once in a while. Ain't a whole lot on it this morning. The reason is, well, a week and a half, well actually a week before this past week, we had like 5 straight days of rain, and this river actually shot up to almost 5 foot, and it washed a lot of the stuff back here, I guess, down the river. And this water is about 1/2 foot higher than it usually is, so it's come down. But you could probably hear the rapids in the background. It's borderline as far as being fishable. I've just never done very well when you got high water. I know 6 inches doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking about water moving over rocks, 6 inches is a huge difference. I mean, normally it's just kind of calm. You got a nice little gentle rapid coming down, but I just had a hit right there. Dropped it. But it's moving along pretty good up here. Like I said, to me this is borderline as far as speed. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Alright, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. See, that's actually moving along pretty good. Got that grass island in the middle creating an eddy right there in between everything, but yeah, it's moving along pretty good. Alright, let's have some fun with the second bait I have on today. It's almost like it's a missile baits day in it. I just like using these baits. This is Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb. And what I did is a green pumpkin. I took a little bit of orange dye, just kind of shaded it like I showed y'all before, but not, I shaded it differently. I'll do a video on how I do that. But you don't want these pinchers dominant in the orange because they'll grab the pinchers every time. So I kind of bring the dye back a little bit into the body. What I've got here is a 2/0 Gamakatsu Finesse flipping hook. And I got a split ring on there, and then an 1/8 ounce weight, bell type weight. 1/8 ounce so I don't get it down deep in the rocks real bad. And this one I actually do have barbless. The Eco Rig, I do not have barbless. I'll do a video down the road on when to use barbless and when not to use barbless, and also why I went there to begin with. But basically, just keep it in a nutshell. If the hook is buried in the bait, it's barbless. If it's outside the bait, it's not. But there's a fine line in that too, especially on different riggings. So I'll do a video down the road on when I use barbless and when I don't use barbless. Let's give this Baby D-Bomb a shot, and this is on casting gear, so we will find out. Got me a small mule in the current, about the 3rd cast in. Look how dark that dude is. And watch this. The hook's gonna go boop, right out of his mouth, hooked him right in the nose. He was just on the edge of that current. He's beautiful. I mean, he's not big. He's thick. About 12 inches. He'll keep in a tournament. But man, he wouldn't come up either, man. I had him on casting gear and I had to struggle to get him to come up. I'm gonna put him back. That's beautiful. Thank you, buddy. Ready to go. How about that? Baby D-Bomb. He just didn't want that worm, I guess. Or maybe it's just not the presentation he wanted. One thing about a barbless hook is keeping your bait from coming off of it. You know, I will admit a barb holds in the plastic better. But I'll be honest with you, from what I've experienced so far with soft plastics, especially after catch a few fish on them, or even just as you're fishing them, the plastics don't get tore up as much. I admit that. They don't get tore up very much because you ain't got that barb tearing that plastic all to pieces. And it would definitely be a lot easier to repair too, as far as heating it back together and welding it. Keep on plugging, man. Before I forget, folks, I know some of you guys are new to this channel, or maybe even watching this for the first time. I do have a life jacket on, basically. I've got one of those belts on, if you can see it. See that? Got one of those belts. You pull the string and the life jacket pops out of it. So I am being safe with this. I just don't wear the vest thing much anymore. Wintertime I will, but it just keeps you warmer. So when the weather's warm, I kind of prefer not to have something just around me. I just basically feel like I have a harness on. I used to have to wear those all the time in the summertime at work. I hate those things. Talk about feeling hot. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I'm being safe. I do promote safety. Yeah, don't be a stud, not wear anything. And even though I'm not anywhere where I can fall out of a kayak, I don't stand up or anything like that. I got way too much Bill Dance in me to stand up. I'll make that boy look good if I try to stand up. Just wanted to throw that out there, guys. I am being safe. Well, I got me another one. And it is a red eye. Tell you what, these dudes hit just like a smallmouth. He's kind of bumping it. And well, if I can get him out of the net first. One thing about a red eye, buddy, they will get a mouthful of it. But he is pretty. They are beautiful fish. They're just annoying. If you think you got your smallmouth, oh, it's a smallmouth, all right. Nah, this dude's, he swallowed this thing. I had him hooked right up in the nose. See how the thing comes out there just perfectly? It's just so much easier just to get right back up in there. It's ready to go again. Didn't even tear the plastic up, man. See what I'm talking about, going barbless? I know some of you guys are probably not going to do that. Actually, I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't going to do that. But something like this, especially a crawfish, they'll have a tendency to go ahead and start swallowing that thing. And that's the only reason I'm going barbless on this. But that's 2 so far on that baby D-bomb. And now for the special treat. You guys probably saw me post this the other day. The old wooden spin scout. It's from the 70s. And these things came with the rubber skirts. Of course, you ain't gonna find one. The rubber skirt's still intact. But I make these. You just get rubber skirts, and I basically just take them apart and put them together. Cut the collars in half, so I only got about that long of a collar, and I slide them over. Must add triple grip short shanks, which helps them stay even more weedless. And I always try to match the tail with the bait. This is kind of a pearl white with a brown back orange belly. It's almost like a crawfish, kind of in a way. So I use a brown and white rubber skirt. A little shorter on the brown, a little bit longer on the white. And I saw a post a guy made on Instagram where he put some spin scouts and he put some new tails on the back of them. And he's in the ballpark. But he put a full skirt on there, probably 20, 30 strands on that thing. And guys, as a bait designer, I can definitely tell you this, and a bait builder, anytime you put a tail on a crankbait, it's going to hamper the action. I don't care if it's one piece of hackle, it's going to hamper it. So I keep these at around 15 strands, if it's even that. And you can see it's only about an inch, maybe inch and a quarter long. So I don't, it doesn't hamper it as bad. But if you go to put a whole lot of that stuff on there, because this sucker right here, I mean, it's got a good wobble to it, much better than the plastic ones that came out with back in the 90s, which you can find those on eBay too. But the old Clark Water Scout, that's basically what this is. I'll do a video on the history of these things. But a Clark Water Scout was the original, and this is just Strike King's rendition of it because they bought Clark Water Scout. So I thought I would try this because it runs about 2 or 3 foot deep, and it's fairly weedless. I mean, it really is. But I'm gonna fish my way out of this pocket. I've shown you how it dog legs makes a hard right hand turn. And I'm gonna work my way out with this scout because we got shallow water, about 2 to 3 foot deep, and it's just rock, flat, like a flat shale rock. And it goes out probably another 100 yards from where I'm at here. So I'm basically just gonna take this crankbait, run it through there, kind of like you would with a crawfish, and see if we can pick anything up. I tell you what I love about this thing. It casts like a bullet. It doesn't tumble in the air. It's just a really good crankbait. It only runs about 2 feet. It doesn't run very deep at all. It's actually quite useful. You can pop it up as a top water if you wanted to. Hold your rod tip way up, you can wake it. So you just twitch it on top and then start bringing it in. You'd be surprised how many times you can twitch it on top like that. And as soon as you start cranking it down, bam, Bomber used to make a popper that actually had a diving lip on it, and you can do that. You can pop it along top and then swim it about 6 inches to a foot under the water. I've actually got a few of those, but yeah, I'm just kind of floating down now. You can probably see behind me trees moving along. I'm just moving along and taking advantage of the current moving me, and I don't want to get too close to the bank. But this, gives me a chance to just take that crankbait, just kind of hit the spots. Like I said, it's all flat rock through here. You got to think, that river makes a hard turn, so it's going to keep everything washed out. So the rock just stays flat. Keep my eye on one rock I got back here. It'll catch me if I don't watch it. Yeah, this thing casts beautifully. Okay, so I put the Nico up because they were hitting that baby D-bomb, so I'm going to use that instead. But what I've got here is another Missile Baits quiver worm. This is in the Fishalicious color. Put a little bit of chartreuse on the tail. Put a little bit of green pumpkin on the back. This is all the spike it dips. And I have this on a 1/0 Eagle Claw laser sharp EWG hook. Now, why the Eagle Claw? It's a little thicker wire than the standard thin wire that Gamakatsu makes. So it's a little thicker and it takes this worm down a little bit. Plus you got the, again, little size 0 swivel, about 25-pound swivel with about a 6-inch leader. And I rig it like I do a sluggo I showed you guys before. The eye is exposed. It's an advantage having a white beard. I can show you what's going on. But I got the eye exposed and a loop knot. And this thing, as a floating worm / fluke, has really good action. I mean, I don't even think John even designed it to be like this. John Cruz, I don't think he actually meant to do this. But man, it makes a great jerk bait. Or you can take the other colors I got. The fried melon is is my favorite. So is a super bug, and you can turn those into floating worms with this kind of rig. But I'm only fishing about a foot down. I do have a little color in the water. I mean, I could probably see about 3 feet down. So I just did the green pumpkin around the hook section. You see that right there? I did a little bit of green pumpkin, just kind of darken it up a little bit, and just did a little shading of chartreuse on the tail, just so they can see it. Because I've had a little bit of drizzle, not much. Very light drizzle. I think now it's actually starting to lightly rain a little bit, which I've got a poncho in case it happens. But if it's just a light rain like this ain't gonna bother me. But I figure, man, you got a rainy day like this, that scout. I actually had a smallmouth about 12-14 inches chase that scout to the boat. I didn't see him until I got ready to pull it out of the water. I was like, dag nabbit. So I threw it back out there a few more times. Where he took off to, he never did come back for it. So they were looking at that scout. And guys, if you throw a crankbait, don't sit there and just crank it. I mean, crank it, pause it, slow crank it, twitch it. Do all kinds of stuff to it. Don't just sit there and just crank it straight back to you. I'm going to switch back between this and the baby D-bug or D-bomb. I'm about 100 yards, 150 yards from the water outlet that I showed y'all before. So I'll keep on plugging. Well, it's raining. That's okay. This stuff's just passing by. Don't mess up my hair. That's alright. Cool thing is the cover that this poncho comes in, I actually have draped over the phone. You can't see it. I do all my stuff on the phone. Let's see, I got it right here. See? I mean, it's perfect, man. It keep my phone from getting wet. Hey, how about that? I made a little stand, put my kayak in the shop, and put my phone on. Works really good. But yeah, it was drizzling, and all of a sudden I started seeing water popping up. I'm thinking, I think I might want to put my poncho on. Of course, now the camouflage, and you can't see me anymore now, can you? Can you see me? So we'll keep on pushing, man. You know, I haven't fished in the rain in quite a while, so we'll keep on going with this and see what we can get. This is pretty cool, actually. Well, the rain stopped. Lasts about 20 minutes. One thing I forgot to put under my poncho, my towel. But an advantage to having a poncho, you know, if you're in a kayak or even a canoe, is you can drape it behind you too and cover your chair, so your chair doesn't get wet. There's a little tip for you there. But I'm still throwing the same 3 baits, and I'm now here to the water outlet. I showed you guys this. As I was coming up this morning, I realized that the water was definitely stainy, though you really couldn't see. It was still kind of, the light wasn't out yet, but I could see clean water coming out mixing with the stained water. I was like, yep, we got some stained water. But I tell you, I've caught bass in this. We got the water mixture, so we're gonna give her a whirl and try a little bit of everything, see what we can do here. Try all 3 baits. Like I said, I still got that D-bomb on here, the baby D-bomb. That's a tongue twister, mouthful kind of thing. Baby D-bomb. Are you fishing? Baby D-bomb. Anyway, let's give this sucker a fling and see if there's anything in this mixing water out here. Let me explain something to you here, what I got going on with this quiver jerkbait rig on the EWG I was telling you about that I have on here. I don't have the barb smashed. It's just a regular barb hook. One of the reasons is when they hit this thing, you know when they hit it. So you're not giving it to them long enough for them to swallow it. They're going to hit it and just run off with it. So you can hit them pretty quick. So therefore, I don't smash the barb on this one. Alright, I'm going to change colors a little bit here. I got me a chartreuse pearl, green back, orange belly with a chartreuse skirt scalp. Same area. Different clear coat. I like to clear coat these because they will start cracking over time. Or if they're just starting to crack like these two were, you definitely want to put a clear coat. I did this one with KBS. It's very expensive clear coat, but man, it's flexible. It's pretty awesome actually. That's what I did with this one. Did a really good thick coat of it with a spray can. The other one, I actually did it. Not this rod, but when I was building the other rod, the one I've got my D-bomb on, I actually used that epoxy, rod epoxy on that lure. Now why? Well, one, it doesn't yellow, but two, it's also flexible. You want a flexible clear coat when it comes to a wood bait, because it'll give with the bait as you hit something instead of just chip off. And you know, I know a lot of guys, and probably a lot of you guys, use epoxy, just like regular, 2-ton epoxy, which is fine, but it will chip and it'll also yellow within a few years. Do not use the 5-minute epoxy to clear coat something. I learned my lesson on that. That sucker will yellow within a month. That was a long time ago though, but back when I was messing with clear coats. But yeah, don't do that. use the 2-hour cure time, which that's getting hard to find. The DEFCON 2-hour mix, that's getting hard to find. But just thought I'll throw that tip out to you guys, because I know a lot of you have these old wooden baits. Maybe not this one, but you've got some old wooden baits, Bagleys and stuff like that. And absolutely clear coat them, because it's, especially if you're going to use them, clear coat them, because it's, you know, all they really had back in those days was lacquer and urethane, and it doesn't really give the best protective finish to it. So just thought I'd pass that tip out to you guys. Well, I got me a long ear sunfish. Who swallowed the whole treble hook. But that's okay. It all came out except for one hook. Which is in there. I got it out on a popper. Let's see if I can get this guy lipped. These are beautiful fish. I mean, I know it's a sunfish. Look at that long ear. Isn't it pretty? Pretty thick too. About this time of year they start bedding up in this river. I just thought I'd show that to you guys. That's just a beautiful fish. I know it's a sunfish. You're probably thinking, it's a perch. No, it's not a perch. That's a long ear. But yeah, he completely swallowed the rear treble hook of that popper. I kind of switched tactics a little bit. I've been seeing a bunch of fish hitting the surface, and figured I'd give that a shot. I'm kind of winding it down here. I've got on, I got a popper tied on, still have that scalp. I went ahead and put a spinnerbait on. You know, it's a cloudy day. It's been raining off and on. We just got done with a shower just now. And I fear the water's still kind of stained. It's definitely more stained here than it was up there, and I knew that was going to be the case. I'm now down from the creek where I put in at. Still in shallower water, but I'm probably a couple 300 yards from the creek. What I've got here is another one of these biz baits. They're True South series. I think they call this one Sunshine. It's kind of a sun perch like you get from War Eagle. I just love the color combination. Just a little translucent orange, some chartreuse, a little bit of clear. And the only thing I do is I change this to an Indiana blade. Came with a gold willow leaf. I went with a gold Indiana, because it allows me to keep this bait down. Normally when I fish a spinnerbait down, I like to have a trailer, but I'm keeping the profile small. So that's basically what I got this spinnerbait for, and it's also what I got the color for. Because this is just a down and dirty, what we call, you know, down and dirty spinnerbait that you can keep down with the Indiana. So you still have that thump, but you're allowing the bait to stay down, and I'm throwing a 3/8. Because you don't want too heavy of a spinnerbait when you're trying to fish it down like that, because it'll just get bound up in the brush and everything. So this is just a slow rolling spinnerbait. I'm fishing it out of sight and just taking the brush piles in the shallow water. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be just switching back and forth because I've been seeing a lot of things hit the surface. So I'm going to stick with the spinnerbait, the scout, and that popper. I'm going to finish it out today with those. And because I've also seen some fish chasing my stuff back to the boat. So I'm going to try this and just keep things moving, blowing and going, and just keep things moving. See if anything's willing to chase. Well, I think I'll call it. I got some errands to run before I head back to the house. I'm gonna tell you what, these scouts are some bad dudes. I mean, that is even though it's got a tail on the back of it, it's got moves like a frog on hot asphalt. I'll tell you what. I mean, it just, but again, like I said, if you guys are going to restore some of these and put tails on the back of these things, keep it thin. I mean, you can see right there just how many tails I got. It's not many at all. And it's fairly weedless too, even though I've got, you know, I do keep short shank KVDs on here, a size 4. Smaller ones you may want to go to a size 6. But yeah, it's a bad little bait. Well, I got a few today. One nice smallmouth and a couple other little creatures. different categories. I just had a few hours. I just want to come out here this morning, just have some fun. Pete's working. So anyway, that's all I got today, guys. Glad you got to come along. You know, we got to discuss some tips and stuff like that. I'd rather do it out here than I would in the studio. So anyway, until next time, guys, may the Father bless you and keep you in Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on.